What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Hawke's Nest. Really appreciate you clicking on this video. Today, if you're looking to buy or sell in 2024, this video is for you. I'm going to share my thoughts and predictions on what's to come with the real estate market. There's obviously, of course, a lot of unknowns, and I'm excited a year from now to look back at this video and see if I was right. But I have some graphs and statistics that I'm going to show you that are going to support my theory and thoughts on what's to come. 2023, recapping the year. Getting started in 2023, January to, basically until now, rates have been higher. We had some little drops and then we had some spikes throughout the whole year, but for the most part, rates stayed pretty high. I want to make a point too, since like 1960 or since they started recording the interest rates, the average between that time was 7.91, and I don't think, maybe for a brief moment we got over that, but for the most part we were well under that average. These 7% interest rates, it's normal. It's normal, unfortunately. Ideally though, we'd like to be more towards anywhere between that 5 to 6 range, I'd say would be ideal or awesome, or no higher than like mid 6s maybe. That way payments are affordable for people. But now, end of the year 2023, Fed has announced, and there's articles on this, that rates are going to be coming down supposedly going into 2024. They've stayed, and sometimes the Fed says one thing and then something else happens. We don't know until it happens. But all signs right now are pointing towards rates supposedly dropping, which is awesome. Okay, so this first graph I'm going to show you is what the house was originally listed for versus what it sold for in percentage. So jumping to this graph, you can see in January 2020, we were around the 96%. Then we got right around the 100% in July 2020, went down, then spiked. In 2021 and 2022, that's when the market was super crazy, right? So we got over that 101%, and then we had a massive drop off in January 2023. That's when the rate hike really happened and rates went a lot higher than what they were. And then for the most of 2023, as you can see, we were rebuilding and getting right around that 100%. And I don't have December's data yet, but you can see it kind of went back down. I really think we're around that 100%, just judging on what's happening in my market right now and clients I'm working with, things like that. Next graph I want to show you is the historic sales price range in square footage versus the amount of listings. So take a look at this graph here. As you can see, we have 2021, 2022, and 2023 on this graph. So you can see 0 to 100, 100 to 150. It kind of gives you the square footage range here, and then the amount of listings. So we were really high in that 150 to 200, but you can see there was kind of a pattern. It slowly dropped off. Listings have been down. We've had a low supply of houses, so this graph supports that theory and thought. But the other thing I want to point out, when you're looking at the 300 to 350, 350 to 400, things like that, the gap in the amount of listings really gets tighter and tighter, which is, again, supporting the fact that things are becoming more expensive. Jumping to this next graph, you can see this graph is for just this year, so January to December of 2023, approximately 100,000 listings. You can see on this graph here, we were original price higher, sale price lower, but then once we got to June and moving forward, those bars got closer and at some points really were higher than the original price. October kind of had that little drop, and I believe the early fall, if I remember correctly, we did have a little rate spike, and so with that probably some negotiations happened, seller concessions, things like that. But key one here that I want to point out, December, you can see that original price versus the sale price is higher, which is supporting, again, that idea, a little supply, high demand. That paired with the potential of rate drops, and we've already seen rates come down, potentially the start of a buyer frenzy come springtime could get a heck of a lot worse potentially. There's another graph I'm going to show you that supports that idea. So as you can see on this next graph, going back to that whole idea of that buyer frenzy potentially, you can see this is a graph from 2017 to 2022. You can see January to December, year over year, we have had a pretty level, rise in the amount of listings that come up, and with that in turn, the amount of buyers that come out because it's nice weather. Wisconsin, you get snow, things like that. Some people don't want to move in snow, but do not rule out, selling in December or any of the later months, because people are still looking to move. Going back to this graph, you can see year over year, we do get consistent listings from, I would say, April to July. That's going to be the prime time to sell over the past 5 or 6 years here. As you can see, that's when the amount of new listings come up, and in turn more buyers are coming out. So these next two graphs I'm going to show you are probably going to be the most important graphs that I feel like are going to hold the most weight and support my prediction and idea. As you can see, this graph is from January 13th to November 2023. So over 950,000 listings here in Wisconsin. You can see a steady line where we rise, and you're supposed to have little dips and you want things to level off here and there, but we always have gone up. Real estate, that is the common thing with real estate, and that's why, in my opinion, it's the greatest investment that you can make. You're gonna have it go down sometimes, just don't sell during those low points, but it's always gonna come back. As you can see on this next graph, exact same graph as the first one, now it's also that second line showing the number of new listings from January 13th to January 2023. So as you can see, we've had that steady climb in price. However, the amount of new listings that have been coming up has continuously gone down for the most part. You're seeing this downward trend with that line. So this is the biggest takeaway from this whole video. If you've made it to this point, congratulations. Until this gets fixed, where we have a level supply and level demand, we're always going to have a good real estate market, or prices may be a little more inflated, which is unfortunate because this is what's pricing buyers out of buying homes. The other thing this graph is supporting and showing is it's really hard to predict a crash is going to happen. And I just love when people say, oh, market's going to crash, market is going to crash. Well, I'm showing and seeing statistics that support that it's not going to happen. And I've had buyers, oh, I'm going to wait a year, I'm going to wait a year, I'm going to wait a year. Well, nothing's happened. Prices have only gone up, and they've gradually gone up, and rates are going up and they're coming down, but real estate's for the most part staying the same, So the people that are saying I'm waiting for this crash, jump into the market, please. That's going to be the other big takeaway from this one. If you're a buyer, buy now. If the rates are a little higher, there's a lot of great loan programs out there right now. You can do a 2-1 buy down or something like that, where you get a lower interest rate, and then if this year rates truly do come down, just refinance it into a traditional loan, and then you're in a house. You need to start building equity now before, based on this graph, if prices continue to rise, you get priced out of even being able to buy a house. So now the moment you've all been waiting for, and we'll see if I'm right or wrong, my prediction for 2024. If the rates are truly going to come down, which so far in December we've seen a trend down in interest rates. If that does happen, it could create that potential buyer frenzy. And based on these two graphs that I just showed, with the number of listings going down and prices staying the same, signs could potentially point to that. Going to depend on what the rates come down to, obviously. But if it's not a drastic drop or anything like that, maybe it'll just be a level market. That would be ideal. Level market is you have 6 months worth of inventory, and we're still below that. So this buyer frenzy, the potential is there. Number 2 with my prediction, it kind of goes back to what I just said. If the buyer frenzy does happen and interest rates do go up, we're going to have multiple offers, potentially more consistently, and with that, in turn, more competition. That's going to be the hard reality. And unfortunately, if you've been someone that's waiting, this is where you're going to really hurt yourself, is if you have a lot of competition you're going up against. I'm not saying it's going to be this potentially 2022, 2021 crazy market, but we haven't had as many multiple offer situations. There still are, do not get me wrong, but it might become a more consistent thing. And as a seller, that's a good thing. You want to have multiple offers and a lot of competition. So if you're looking to sell, could be a potentially great time for you. And number 3, in this part of the prediction, It's just more of an observation, and I'm going to be curious what happens. With it being an election year, there could be some changes in policy and things like that that might get implemented in 2025 or, moving forward after that. Not going to get political. I'm not going to pick a side or anything like that. I'm not going to do that and cancel myself. But, politics do have an effect on the real estate market. This year, with everything that's happened and going on, prices, this market that we're in, a lot of people aren't happy about it. During the previous election, as you can see, market economy was great, but there was inflated prices too. So pick and choose, pick what you want. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens this election year and what's to come, what policies are implemented. So there you have it, guys. That's my prediction for 2024. Definitely going to be an interesting year. There's going to be a lot of unknowns, but regardless, I still think it's going to be a great time to either buy or sell real estate. It's just a matter of what these interest rates do. But if you like this video and you like this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel below. All the love and support is greatly, greatly appreciated. And it lets me know what type of stuff you guys like to see. So until the next one, like I said, thank you for stopping at the Hawk's Nest, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.